Hello and welcome to this episode of The Capitalist Investor. As always, you have me, Diamond Hands D, and we got the whole crew here, Tony the Tiger, Cool Hand Luke. What's going on, guys?
Yo. What's up, man?
All right. Well, Tony's been waiting a while for this one, so let's get all of our hot takes out of our system. All right, we got
three topics.
All right, hit them.
The election update and the markets. How does this play out for the rest of the year? I think Luke was itching to talk about that on our last podcast, so we'll talk about it this podcast.
That's right.
Nike down 25-30% in the last few weeks. What the heck happened? Or Nike. And
woke.
Yeah. But then you also have during the great debate a few weeks ago, somehow the discussion of golf came up, and now Trump just recently said asked President Biden for a golf match, and if Trump were to lose, he'd donate $1 million. So let's have a hot take on that. So anyway, all right, so elections and the markets. Does the market even care that there's an election going on right now? So, Luke, what do you got?
Yeah. Just not yet.
Moving on.
Yeah, just not yet.
Yeah.
I don't think the market's cared up to this point. I think as we approach the next 3 months and we get clarity if Joe Biden is the nominee or someone gets in, I think the DNC Convention's what? September? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
No, that far away?
Yeah, I think it's in September if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's around that time. And I think we get more clarity on if Biden is it or Kamala Harris or somebody else.
Can they move, can they put somebody else out there that quickly? Like September, October. I mean, you're
that could
2
be
months
part of their
not
plan,
even
man.
2 months.
That could be part of their plan to kind of shock and get everyone that, because right now the mentality is Trump kind of has this in a bag. It's kind of how it feels, and I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling at all. Because usually when that feeling happens, there's something that we're not aware of that's going to be coming, and that could be the last resort case scenario. Things get switched up, something happens, and the next thing you know, a new person's in there and rocking the people's feelings and emotions, and it could change the outcome of the election. I don't know. My point is, I think when we get more clarity, and historically, if you look at markets, it has nothing to do.
All right, go on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad.
It has nothing to do with Democrats and Republicans. It has to do with the incumbent winning or losing. And typically in election years, when the incumbent loses, we see a drawdown in the market upwards of 16 or 17%. That has not happened this year. We've seen a drawdown of 5%. It's the biggest drawdown. So I think it's important to take that risk into consideration. If, as we get closer to November, Trump victory looks more likely, we could see a drawdown because of uncertainty. Now, people are saying in the markets, all these experts and analysts are saying that the market doesn't care because we've already seen a Trump victory. We've already seen what Trump does, and we already saw what Biden does. So no matter who wins, we already kind of know the playbook. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think that still you have to use history somewhat as a gauge to what's going to happen because of unpredictability in this world. It gets crazier every single day, it feels like.
Yep. So, talking last episode about all the cracks in the maybe hidden cracks in the economy, everything Luke said, 100% accurate. There's obviously a long history of, who gets elected and then what happens afterwards. Usually not a huge correlation either. But, it does feel very, very different this time around. And, I think one of the main things that is really adding to the cracks in the economy is essentially the unlimited government spending, which I can only assume is going to continue if the Democrats or Biden get reelected. It is just wildly out of control. It is obviously causing one of the main sources of the cause of inflation, and if we just continue down that road, it's definitely going to lead to a recession. If these same policies are just implemented over and over and over, and we're just spending unlimitedly, it's going to end badly. And
it's called inflating our way out of debt.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. The Republican National Convention is next week. The Democrats is in August.
Yeah,
mid-August.
Yeah.
So it's in Chicago. But anyway,
Well, I was 1 month late.
So yeah, this administration is my theme is they're going to make sure that this thing stays afloat, so it is not a topic at a debate. Like look at the economy, look at the market, it's crashing. Like that's not going to be something. So that is why there is a lot of government jobs being created. Keeping this thing afloat for the next 6 months is in the current administration's best interest.
And that's what's going on right now.
And that's why we're spending $1 trillion in the first quarter of this year. I think we're on pace to do the same damn thing. Man, and now you start hearing, kind of a side note, now you just start hearing about how on the debate, Trump is like, Joe, you're killing Medicare and Social Security. You're letting all these illegal immigrants coming in and putting them on Social Security right away. Man, I can't wait to see the updates, because we always talk about that in our educational classes when the trust fund's going to run out. Could be running out a lot quicker. But another thing is that CEOs do care about who is going to win, because then they can start planning ahead of time. And after this last debate, Trump took an even more commanding lead on who's going to win. And that means that the current tax rules are going to stay in place. They'll probably be modified or whatever, but not much. Not much is going to change. And CEOs can build around that, and uncertainty is what drives the market down. When there is certainty and you can deploy capital into whatever you're going to do, that goes a long way. So that's my hot take.
I try to look at, so how my brain works is, I think the way you sometimes want to position or think about the future is what would be the most likely headline, or what headline can you imagine is going to be the case here in a couple months. So when I take a look at my brain, I'm like, what could be the headline in like September, October, right before the election in regards to the stock market? And I can just imagine a 10% plus drawdown happening around that time in the market. The first 10% drawdown we've had this year, which is very common actually in election years.
When?
Sometime right before the election, like September.
You think
October.
Before? I think like right afterwards.
I
just
think
like
it's going to happen right.
Always.
It's going to happen right before, and then Trump's going to say, "See, look what Joe Biden is doing to the economy. The market's down. This is all because of Joe Biden." And then you have Joe Biden say, "Well, in the polls right now, Trump's winning. This market's pricing in like Trump winning. This is what you're going to get when Trump wins." I can kind of see like that fight, them blaming each other for that, because it's always going to be spun. But I can see like the headlines, like, everyone talking about it on TV, seeing Fox, CNBC, whatever it be, like, why is the market drawing down? Is it because Trump? Is it because of Biden? Like the big debate. Like I think that is likely actually to happen.
All right.
I think the headline, I can just see it right there, plastered everywhere.
All right. Next hot take, Nike. It's down 25% in the last 2 weeks. Any hot takes?
Well, the obvious hot take is their stance on things lately might have been slowly, eroding their base. I used to buy all kinds of Nike stuff, and I don't think I stopped because of, Colin Kaepernick or, whatever the case is. I just kind of naturally have stopped, honestly. Like I would say 80% of my golf gear was Nike. And a lot of that has to do with Tiger Woods. This is definitely a hot take. So Tiger Woods leaving Nike essentially ruined the golf brand for Nike. It is not as cool anymore. You barely see anyone wearing it now. The guy at the John Deere Classic, I can't come up with his name, but he was a first-time winner. He had a cool Nike shirt on. That was the first time I've noticed a cool Nike shirt on the golf course in a long time. It's usually Scotty Scheffler.
Is
and
it Thompson? Dave Thompson?
Yes, that was the guy. And I think he shot a 59 too. That's wild.
Dude, he was 25 under.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, I think it's a combination of things. I think the coolness factor to the brand is down. I think the popularity of the brand is down. But I also think the economy is not as strong as people are saying, and it is a lot of luxury items, right? Whether it's shoes, golf clothes, exercise gear, whatever the case is, people aren't just, that's not a need. That's not what they're going to buy.
I think the last point is key there. I think that's what I would blame it on, is just what we talked about before. Some holes, cracks forming in our last podcast. I think that all trickles through discretionary spending. You're seeing restaurants take a hit. Mm-hmm. You're seeing the kind of fast food, the junk food take a hit because of people blame it on Ozempic, but I think it's also because of discretionary income. You're seeing Nike take a hit, so I think it's all based around discretionary income just being lower and people feeling strained. I mean, you got to remember, companies need to grow for the stock prices to go up, and even if they're flatlined, like that's still is going to impact the stock, and that's essentially what's happened. Is you got to continue to grow. The economy still needs to remain so hot for companies to make money, and that's just not happening.
Yeah, So I was on like Schwab Network back in February, and I talked about Nike as one of the stocks that we owned. And some of the reasons why we own it, fundamentally, technically, all this stuff is, they're one of the most recognized brands. Did Tiger Woods ruin that? Maybe, I don't know. But on the golf gear stuff, just I have a lot of golf shirts, and now I just there's little pockets of people creating golf shirts that are just as expensive as Nike, but look cooler and the designs look more fun. So I mean,
shout out Peter Millar if you want to sponsor me.
Travis Matthews, a great brand. Sunday Swagger, they really tiny.
I've never heard of any of these.
Yeah. Need to golf more. But anyway, Nike.
Last hot take on Nike. Oh, I'm sorry. You have more on Nike?
Oh, I just started.
Right.
I just started. No, iconic brand. They have been, their numbers have been anemic, but 2024 should be a big year for them because the Olympics. They're the main sponsor of the Olympics this year. They're going to be everywhere on TV for the next, for 3 weeks in a row, right? They recently announced a $22 billion cost reduction program. Well, they just cut a bunch of people. They just fired a bunch of people. So
2% of their labor force.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of people at the top.
All executives.
Yeah. So that's another thing. But they have historically just generated good free cash flow, and I'm sure the dive in their price, could make them a good buy at this point. And they provide a dividend. They were talking about stock buybacks, and they might even be more aggressive on that now that the stock's down 25%. If they are sitting on cash and they like their stock at 95, they're going to love it at 75. So maybe they're even more aggressive on their stock buyback.
That's fair. I like that.
And again, back in February, within 2 years, our team at that time, I didn't really research. I didn't go and ask them this morning or the last couple of days, but their fair market value on the stock is $150 a share. Could be a good buy. I might go buy it myself. I don't know. I got to see what our investment team's doing.
Keep us posted on that.
So, but it's not a recommendation. SWP did own. I think they still own Nike, unless they trimmed it or sold it because of the fall. As of this recording, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't own it, but I might because of the things I just talked about. All right, next hot take. Anyone else have another hot take on that?
So last take on Nike. How old is too old to wear Jordans?
We do own Nike.
Yeah, we still own it. Yep.
I knew Chris wears Jordans.
All right, so our engineer who's pushing
40.
You're basically a boomer,
40,
right?
46.
Oh,
okay.
damn, you're looking good.
All right, I was gonna go maybe late 30s, early 40s. Okay. All right, man. I like it. Still rocking Jordans. I don't know, man. You have to have a look.
Never too late.
You got to dial it in with everything else.
It's never too late to have swag. That's what I say.
Never too late.
Never too late to have swag. Everyone can have swag at any age. I know 70-year-olds that have tons of swag. More swag than I ever will in my life.
Fair enough.
All right.
There's a guy. What do you think, Derek? Is when do you? I mean, you brought the question up. I think anybody at any age can pull it off as long as the rest of your demeanor, the rest of your gear looks tied in. I don't know.
I mean, I was at the airport last week and I saw like this 75. He had to be like in the 70s. He was in a wheelchair. He had earrings. He had tattoos all over. He had like swagged out. Like he had like a V-neck something on. He had like a chain. Like I'm like, this dude swagged out. He's like 75 years old. I'm like, this guy. I will never be this guy. Like I want to be that guy. I will never be that guy. Just an example.
So I personally think I'm too old to wear Jordans now. So I just can't pull it off because I don't have that swag.
And next year you're gonna be get off my lawn guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm already
already there.
Already there.
Get off my lawn.
Chris, do you wear like the casual Jordans, or are you like sport jacket, jeans, and Jordans as like the dress shoe?
Yeah.
Both. Yeah. So, I just can't pull that off. I just can't, and I just had a feeling that Chris was, so I thought it would be a good topic.
I mean, I have some like classy looking tennis shoes, but they're not Nike. They're not a tennis shoe, but they look like a Converse. But they're all black, but they're a tennis shoe. But if you look hard enough, they could pass as a dress shoe. But they're really a tennis shoe. That's my angle these days. Like low key, I'm just kind of trying to stay low key. Like I don't need white and baby blue Jordans with my suit on.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Did you have the original Jordans back in the day?
All right. We got to get to our last topic, guys.
Yeah.
I think we gotta get back to tradition and just wear like top hats and like suits everywhere. That's what I think.
Top hats is a bold move. Cam,
I will do that.
Cam Newton likes that.
All right.
What's the last one?
All right, last one.
Golf.
We heard at the debate them talking about golf, Trump and Biden, and now Trump has officially come out and said I want a match against Biden. For $1 million if he beats him. If Trump gets beat, he would donate $1 million to any charity he wants. And Trump said he would give him 20 strokes, 10 on each side, and that is essentially telling Biden. Trump is telling Biden that he sucks, like a lot, because according to Jin, which is like the official handicap keeper of golf clubs and things like that. Trump is like a 2 or 3 handicap. That means he's pretty dang good. He'll shoot near par all the time. He's basically telling Biden that you probably can't shoot under 110. It's essentially what he's saying.
I mean, how can he not be right?
I don't know. The dude can't walk down steps or up steps.
I don't think he.
How do you even
swing.
putt?
There's zero chance he could finish 18 holes.
I mean, 18 holes on a putt course. Trump would eat his lunch.
Yep.
I think.
I mean, Trump obviously has a vanity handicap, and that is, basically saying that you are better than you are, so your handicap gets lower, whether that's, giving yourself putts, kicking it out of the trees, whatever the case is. He's definitely not a 2 handicap, but he's a decent golfer.
So we had this discussion before we even the thing, like Chris is like, he lies about it, and like, that's okay, but he's officially a 2, so if I were to go play Donald Trump, like, I'm going to get a bunch of strokes because he decided to have a vanity handicap. That's on him. That's on him. Not because he sure, if you want a line, you're not ever going to win a competitive match in golf at your country club. That's essentially what it means.
I hate to be the boomer here. I hate that we're talking about this. Why are we in the Hunger Games right now? Like watching the debate and seeing them talk about golf for a minute and like arguing about who's better and what handicaps are, like I'm like, how did we get here as a nation, as a country? We used to fight world wars, win those. We used to be men of integrity, respect, and like the presidency was a respectable position. It's like now we're talking about golf, which majority of people probably don't golf because no one has the time to golf. They're working their butts off.
I mean, the man's got a hobby that he's passionate about. What are you gonna, he's passionate about the country. Did you hear him talking about all the other? It was 2 minutes out of a 90-minute conversation. Yeah, why it came up? Yeah, it was a little weird, but it made 90 minutes a little more.
Maybe made him relatable, and so I don't know, but like maybe relatable to 5% of people that golf. I don't know, but it irritated me a little bit. I'll be honest.
Well,
not to be the Debbie Downer.
There was many more parts of that debate that irritated me a lot more than just the golf talk. I'll say that there was a moment of levity in an otherwise embarrassing performance.
I think a golf match should determine the election. That's I think how.
Yeah, trial by combat. Yeah.
Trial by combat.
Yeah,
it's like Hunger Games. Like, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this.
Well, it's like back. I was watching a movie this couple days ago. Like the old school way of like you had two. Leaders of nations or two like warriors, they would fight it out, and whoever won would like dictate the battle. Who won the battle? Like they wanted to do that. I think that we should go back to that.
Yeah, I mean, there's several movies like that, like The Skulls,
Troy,
Brad Pitt, and then you got like the end of the last thing of John Wick. They did a duel.
I'll be honest.
Grab a gun.
I was watching
20 paces.
The movie I was watching.
Shooting.
The movie I was watching was Warcraft. It's based on World of Warcraft. It's the first time I've ever seen that movie, but. That's what I was referring to.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it's and I think as this podcast, like the gauntlet was thrown down and Biden administration declined, so it's not going to happen. Yep. But it will continue to be talked about
for sure. All right. Well, we got a little rambly there at the end of that one, but thanks for listening. We would definitely be interested in your hot takes if there's anything that you wanted us to debate. But thank you for listening to this episode. If you have any questions or comments, show ideas, hit us up at info@swpconnect.com, and we'll talk to you next time.
The opinions expressed in the podcast are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any investment, legal, financial, or tax strategy. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry. Please consult a qualified professional about your individual needs.